to my life. I hope we are here for 2 days because I really don't want to be really ready to go home now, but since we got to be here for a couple of days, I can stretch it all out, but, I'm ready to go from day one, you know, and so the day go by, mind you, it was never like a time in my early life I didn't see my mother at some point in the daytime, a night or whatever. At some point of that day, I see my mother. So my mother left, and so they said she was going to meet my father. So as time, I'm sitting in the living room, I'm not moving, I'm waiting on my mother to come back because no one is really approaching me. No one is trying to engage me. No one is trying to get to know me. Even the kids, no one is really showing me any type of interest. So I'm really like waiting on my mom, somebody I'm familiar with, to come back so I could feel a little comfortable around here. So the night go on, and they just kept telling me, well, she, deal with your father. So I said, okay, I give it a day, So the next day come, and the same thing repeat itself. Now I'm getting worried. Wow, my mother is not coming back tonight. I'm feeling like something is amiss, something is wrong here, because it's 2 days I haven't seen my mother, and that's very unusual in my whole entire life. Like I said, never been a date I hadn't seen her, so now it's 2 days, so I'm feeling some kind of way. So I started crying, and I can remember my grandmother calling me to her bedside and like trying to console me. She was like, "What you gonna call me?" I said in my New York accent, as proper as I could, "Grandmother." She said, "Oh, no, you ain't. You gonna call me my dear, just like everybody else." So that was my first introduction into my Southern dialect, if you will, So, make a long story short, my mother never returned. I was in a state of shock. I was in a serious state of shock. Because, mind you, even though my mother was neglectful by allowing my older brother to raise me as a child, you got to think, to have the autonomy and freedom as a child to do whatever you want to do. And you're my childlike mind mentality. You're like, I got the greatest mother in the whole wide world. We can do anything. Quite naturally, that's the way I felt. I love my mother. She let me do anything. Let us do anything. Gave us money and stuff, and loved on us when she wasn't around. So, I had a great mother, in my mind, So I could never understand why such a loving mother would abandon her child like that. Of course, now I realize the neglect and abandonment wasn't love. It is what it is, neglect and abandonment. But in my childlike mind, to have the freedom and autonomy to do whatever you want to do, mischievous or not, I had a great mother. She was the bomb. The greatest mother in the world, as far as I'm concerned, at the time. So I was very hurt and very shocked that she would leave me there and not return. So now, here I am in that environment where I don't know anybody socially. The culture is totally different when it comes to language, when it comes to the environment. Total impoverishment. Poor as poor can be. And I'm here. I'm like, I can't breathe. I'm like, I'm suffocating. Like, what am I gonna do? What to do? And no one is engaging me. No one is consoling me. It was like, figure it out on your own, young blood. Get with the kids, go play or something. We ain't got no kicking it for you. So I gotta try to figure out this harsh reality on my own. And it bothered me for many years. But one thing was kind of comforting after a while was that I used to wander in the neighborhood, wander around, in the summer time, just wander around. And I recall my Uncle Billy. My Uncle Billy putting his arms around me whenever he caught me in the neighborhood. He kind of walked me back home as he was going home. And he was always telling me, it's going to be all right, nephew. It's going to be all right. And so I felt good about that, He really was the first person in my family to embrace me, to make me feel connected to the family. And he was a strong character. He was the leader of the community gang, neighborhood gang. He was always sharp in two-piece suits, And so I was beginning to kind of relax a little, because I kind of got, some support, finally, from an adult, got some support. So I'm feeling some kind of way, and I'm feeling, okay, I'm a part of this family. And so, as time would have it, a couple of years later, he would get murdered. And his loss only compounded the shock and devastation that I was going through mentally and emotionally. When I lost him, I was like losing a love, someone that really cared about me all over again. Really the only person that really cared about me all over again within a short time span. That really messed me up. It really did. And shortly after my Uncle Billy got murdered, I guess because he was a gang leader and he might have had some enemies in the neighborhood that didn't like him, maybe because of his position. And he probably, bullied a few people, because of his status, having that crew and that clique, rub some people the wrong way. But shortly after my uncle was murdered, I was molested by my neighbor. And I do believe it was a result of them trying to get back at our family or something our uncle may have done to their family or may have caused some fear in certain families in the neighborhood. And it was a way of kind of striking back at our family. Now they know that our strength, the core strength, of our family was gone. We was definitely weakened by his loss. Make no mistake about that. Our family was profoundly weakened by his loss. And so I had to, of course, this guy, this male who molested me as my neighbor, now I got to deal with this. Now I lost two people, being molested as a child. No one to go to. No one to console me.